Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another episode of the Just Seen podcast. Today, I'm going to be talking about a very deep topic. I feel like it's a topic that is necessary to be discussed right now, and it's something that needs to be discussed in light of recent situations and things of that nature. Because now is the best time to do it, because lessons are best learned when emotions are in the vein. And as somebody who understands how energy works very well, I know that when fear tactics are put upon, us as people, that is the best time for us to redirect the fear by, getting something different. By no means am I trying to, erase what's going on or make people feel as if, try to forget about it. Nah, because I'm affected, almost directly by it, because the brother was my family. And, like I said, it hits different when it's, families, but it's like you still have to maintain your mental space and your peace. So one thing that I keep seeing on social media all over, hashtag after hashtag, is when will it stop? When will it stop? Why are they still doing this? What is going on? And I'm going to give you the answer as to why they're doing it. The actual answer as to why they're doing it. It's not because, yes, it's because they hate us. We don't fuck with them. And like nobody's intervening, because there is a shift that is happening. There is a major shift that is happening, and we're in the Aquarian age. And I'm going to break this shit down from multiple places. Whether you're religious, I'm going to show you how it's in your religion. Whether you're spiritual or woke, I'm going to show you whatever you need to see on how you need to see it to know that we're here in the Aquarian age, and the significance of the Aquarian age, how it ties to black folks and how it ties to black men, and why they won't stop killing us. But in addition to that, they're killing all of us. It isn't just the black men. There's also been a sister who was thrown off of a roof by a police officer in Toronto, thrown off of a balcony by a cop. So the attack is the people. It's the people of the collective. You have to kill they're attacking the men because they're attacking the men because they know that they're trying to stop the resurgence of masculinity, right? And they kill the women because that's the womb. It's simple. If I can continue to put fear and trauma in your creative forces, anything you create cannot embody what is supposed to happen over the next 2,000 years. Okay. And like I said, I'm going to break it all down. This is not going to be a reach in any way, shape, or form. You'll be able to take with it what you will. I'm going to make it as simple as possible, but I'm definitely going to talk my shit about it. Because it's time for us to wake up and stop being stupid. You feel what I'm saying? Because we're trying to beg and plead for motherfuckers to stop doing something they're not going to stop. You need to understand the side of the war that you're on. You need to understand the war and why the war is happening. You're not going to stop this. You're not going to stop this till you decide you're ready for it to stop. But before I go into it heavy, as always, follow me on Instagram at _just_seen_. Be sure to check out my webpage at iamjustseen.com, where you can get my books, you can get my courses, and you can set up your sessions for chatting with Seen. And you can get your merch. It's all listed there. Follow me on Instagram. You'll be able to see all of my social media platforms as well, where you can follow me: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I appreciate everyone who tips and donates and sponsors the podcast. You are greatly appreciated. Anybody who would want to tip, donate, and sponsor the podcast, you can do so. Cash App, PayPal, and the link to the sponsorship are all in the description of your podcast. That's pretty much it for quote-unquote housekeeping rules. So we're going to dive into the Aquarian age, the rise of masculinity, when we return. Oh yeah, and don't forget to visit iamjustseen.com. There you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the Sofrel series to your library? Visit iamjustseen.com. You want to learn how to master the market for serious trading and investing? Visit iamjustseen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit iamjustseen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? visit IamJustSeen.com. You ever want to just chat with Seen about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at IamJustSeen.com. So just take a quick peek into my world and see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it. You will never see it unless you visit IamJustSeen.com. All right, welcome back. And I'm gonna go ahead and get straight into it. I'm gonna be talking a lot of shit. If you take notes, you can do so. If not, just listen. You can re-listen again. I'm not gonna make this too complex or anything like that, but I'm gonna break this shit down from beginning and the significance of us as men, our role in all of this shit, how we're gonna change it, what we have to do. But the most important piece is that we have to know what the fuck is happening. We have to know why it's happening, okay? And the reason why this shit is going on the way it is because we are in the Aquarian age. We are in the Aquarian age. Now, I'm gonna give a quick background of it, right? So the Aquarian age is the age of knowing. It's the age of knowledge, right? We left the Piscean age, which was the age of belief, okay? Prior to the Piscean age was the Aryan age, the age of Aries, which was the age of war, or I am, or whatever the case may be. But I'll discuss all of that and why I'm saying the things that I'm saying. All right. So right now we're in the Aquarian age and we're in full effect with the Aquarian age. 2020, whatever number we're on, who gives a fuck whether we're in the year 2020, Gregorian calendar, whatever. Forget all of that shit. Gregorian calendars. But forget all of that shit and understand that it's about cycles, okay? The zodiac sign still is going to stay in effect no matter what month you decide to put over a layer over it, whatever the case may be. But the principle is that it happens in a cycle and a time frame, right? It's a phase, okay? So we're in the Aquarian age right now, in full effect. There's no way around this shit. And we left the Piscean age. Now, anybody who studies or knows a little bit about astrology, you're probably, wondering, well, how does it go into the Aquarian age if it's leaving the Pisces age when the zodiac sign goes from Aquarius to Pisces? The reason why that is the case is because according to the Earth zodiac sign, the way the Earth spins, it spins clockwise in relation to what I'm talking about. It spins clockwise through the zodiac sign. Therefore, it goes Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. Okay? But there's a concept called cosmological astrology, in which it is levels above where we are. It's the astrology of the universe, of our universe, or our galaxy, however you want to look at it. Okay? Being that it's cosmological, it's a lot more time. So before it's assumed that I'm reaching, the principle and the understanding of this can be found in what's called Napta-Playa. N-A-P-T-A, Playa, P-L-A-Y-A. It is a little area in Egypt. Well, not Egypt, but Kemet. And that it's around that area. That's something they don't teach you in the history books. It's something they're not going to teach you. They're not even going to teach you about that civilization. Okay? Because when you study Napta-Playa, they have monumental structure that is circular in motion. In this monumental structure, it charts the cosmological astrology. So the cosmological astrology is about 26,000 years. Between a full cosmological year, the universal year, the galactical year, the galaxy's year is about 26,000 years. It's really 25,940 something, I think, to be exact. But we're going to roughly say 26,000 years. So this breaks down to roughly about 2,100 years per zodiac sign. Now, the thing about Napta-Playa is that it's charted according to the like I said, the cosmological astrological print. So the stars are still going to be there. They're still going to be in effect, but it takes a lot longer to move through them because it's a lot grander. Our ancestors charted that, right? It's a very significant piece to our ancestral lineage because now it's going to start opening up a lot of doors and a lot of thoughts about certain things. So when we look at how the our ancestors charted that, it was 26,000 years. So to be able to do something like that, right, you need to be in a space to be mentally sound, mentally prepared to be able to do this. Now, I don't know how long our ancestors lived, but let's just say we stick with 100-year lifespan, right? 100-year lifespan, you have to be on point to be able to do something like this. So when we see the charting of 26,000 years, we need at least 3 cycles. We need at least 3 cycles or 3 evolutions of something to know that it is a habit or it is a cycle, because the first time is just the incident. Something, it's happening, something happened. The second time something comes in, I would call it a coincidence, but I don't believe in coincidence. But the second time that it happens lets you know that, hey, pay attention. The third time lets you know the cycle is in effect. It happens the same way every single time. So you can expect the 4th time, a 5th time, 6th time, So in order for you to chart a cycle of something, you have to be around to see it. Okay. So if it's 26,000 years, just for number's sake and it's easy multiplication, I'm going to drop that down to 25,000 and multiply by 3. So at least 75,000 years, you have to be alert and paying attention to the stars to know that it moves through this phase. With the 100-year life expectancy, our ancestors had to pass the right information down between the people correctly for at least 75,000 years. Okay, so this is important because when we look at Noptoplaya, it breaks it down to show how it was charted, right? And this can be found in a book called I want to say Astrology Map by Brophy. His last name is Brophy. I want to say George Brophy, but it's Brophy. Yeah, Brophy. So it's Brophy. He's studied Noptoplaya and the cosmology of it all. So we're in the Aquarian age according to that aspect. So if you study the astrology, you know that the Aquarian age is the Aquarius symbol means to know. It's knowledge. It's information. In addition to that, the Aquarian age is masculine. So if you understand the astrology principles, it goes feminine, masculine, feminine, masculine. Of course, Pisces is a feminine energy. It's a feminine zodiac sign, right? And the Aquarian age is going to be the masculine zodiac sign. So this is why I've always told people, for a long time, they've said, well, the feminine energy needs to return. That's why I wrote So Frail to Toxic Femininity. Feminine energy isn't gone, it's toxic. Because you have the wrong people running the game. You feel me? You have the wrong people running the game. And these people know what the fuck they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. That's why we're in the age of, over the last 2,000 years, there's been nothing but destruction. Within the mentality of, hey, we want peace. We want, love and spread all of that shit. But you have toxic femininity running because the men do not like women. The men, or the forces that be, they do not like the feminine essence. So they're using it from the toxic perspective. That's why creation now becomes destruction. That's why war is so rampant. Okay? So with us being in the Aquarian age right now, you have to take out the leaders of the world. Well, you have leaders of the world, but then you have leaders of the earth. The melanated being is the leader of the earth. Period. This is our shit. Okay? This is ours. And when you're coming into a masculine essence, right? You're coming into a masculine energy. Who is supposed to lead this? You feel what I mean? This is why the last 2,000 years, the woman was so crucified. The woman was so, it was so taboo. You wanted to suppress that woman. You wanted to suppress that energy because the feminine energy was supposed to lead. Women have the predisposition for femininity. Yes, they have masculine essence, and yes, we as men have feminine essences. However, women have the natural predisposition to lead, to be feminine. You can't debate me on it. You're not gonna play with me on that shit. But that's just the reality of what it is. Okay, so we're actively in the Aquarian age. It's, our ancestors already predicted it. They charted it. So something that, one of the things that helped me see it, one way that helped me see it was that I want to say it was J. Edgar Hoover, the one who was responsible for, killing off the Black Panthers and all of that shit and that whole thing. The Black Panthers, Malcolm X, all of them, because they said we have a fear of a black messiah, right? So they don't understand. They never could understand the full capacity of the shit that our ancestors left us, and our ancestors left it for a reason. When we see it, we can resonate with it, whether we understand it or not. We understand the resonance of what's going on. Okay, so the fear of the black messiah wasn't a person; it's an essence. Okay, I'm gonna say it again. It's not a person; it's an essence. The black messiah that is coming to save is masculinity. Okay, it's the understanding of masculinity. It's full of masculine energy. It's the understanding and the revival of masculinity. I say it all the time. When masculinity returns into this world, toxic femininity dies. Femininity becomes more healthy and it changes. So I always say, it's not the feminine essence that is gone, that is lacking. The feminine essence is here. It's just tainted. It's tainted. Masculine essence is completely obsolete. That's what's not here. So the killings happen because they need to keep us at a fear level. You cannot understand an ascent to masculinity if you're still on your root chakra. To get to your masculine essence, you have to be able to unblock all your chakras. Ascend to your crown. Understand that you have to detach from earthly attachments and worldly possessions and, the worldly things. You have to detach from that. When you detach from those things, you're able to revive your spark for your masculine essence and ascend to your other 5 chakras. Chakra energies. There's 12 total. There's not 7, there's 12. There's 7 in your body, 5 outside of your body. You feel what I mean? I have a full breakdown of that on my YouTube. I forget which video it is, but I have a breakdown of that. There's 12. Okay, this is why consciousness is 360 degrees, but it's 2 points. This is why, even if you go to a geometric perspective, because when we talk about physics and metaphysics, we have to understand the physics that makes the metaphysics meta. You feel what I'm saying? So from a physics aspect, then you go to the mathematics of it all and you see geometry. Okay. Geometry has 2 significant shapes in it that are exactly the same, but they're completely different. That's the square and the circle. The square and the circle are both 360 degrees. But the difference between them, the circle is infinite 360 degrees because there's no real start or end point. You have an infinite amount of possibilities that you can start and end the circle. But with the square, there's a finite amount of 360 degrees. You feel what I mean? And because there's 4 definite points that you have to make a square or a rectangle or any kind of 4-sided figure, quadrilateral, right? But there's 360 degrees and there's 4 finite points. No matter which one you start at, if you count 3 spaces away, you'll come back to the one that's 360 degrees. You feel what I mean? So these 2 points are very important. The circle is feminine, the square is masculine, right? It's finite. So the point that we're in right now is that 360 degrees is a point of knowing all 12 of your chakras. The highest 3, 10, 11, and 12, they're 360 degrees of the infinite, 360 degrees of infinite consciousness, which is 360 degrees circular. The bottom 9 are finite. So each chakra carries about 8 degrees of consciousness in them. You feel what I mean? So they have to keep us on our root chakra because our root chakra is only 8 degrees of consciousness, maximum. So you hear all the time, they tell us, oh, humans only use 10% of their brain. No, we only use 10% of our consciousness. 10% of our consciousness. So if you break down, and we only use 10% of our finite consciousness. So if you break down 360 degrees, 10% is 36 degrees. That 36 degrees is going to keep you in your sacral chakra. And in your sacral chakra, you have what? Emotions and feelings. There's a reason why we're not able to go into our personal identity. We're collectively only able to ascend at most to our emotions. And our emotions are completely fucked up. Right? So when asked, why are they killing us? Why are they doing this? Because it's going to trigger your emotions and put you in a state of fear and send you back down to your root chakra. You feel me? I could be reaching, but the proof is in the pudding. You feel me? So we're looking at the resurgence of masculine energy. The masculine principle is here and you have to kill it. Men have the predisposition for masculinity. So it's going to take men. It's going to take a man to ascend to the masculine principle and bring it back. They're not worried about their own men. They're not worried about Asian men. They're worried about the black man returning back, because you take the earth back. They may rule the world, but we rule the earth. There's two different points of that. The world is about possessions and things. The earth is about your connection with the one. It's the nature of us. You feel what I mean? One thing that I like to say, there's, you have an ecosystem, and then you have the ego system, right? The ego system breaks things down into a hierarchy where you have things like, dominion over animals, dominion over the earth, where it puts men, women, children, and everything before it. But that's the ego system. The ecosystem unites everything. It says there is no high, there is no low. There is a universal harmony between all things. Okay? That understanding comes back with the masculine energy, because the masculine energy is finite. There's no infinity to the thought process. There's a limited scope to, hey, this is what it is. And that's what we're in right now. We're in the Aquarian age. So as I said, I'm going to prove it. Well, you can't prove anything in this world because, everything is relative and everything is speculative, but you can justify. So I'm going to justify everything that I'm saying and stand on my principles, but I'm going to show you in real time a lot of these things that are occurring and going on. Okay. So the first point, like I said, with the J. Edgar Hoover thing about, we have a fear of a black messiah. It's not a black messiah. That's why they kill off the black man. They kill off the black man, they damage the womb. It's a reason for that, because a black man who ascends to masculinity, anything that he creates, any child that he creates, any conceptualization, because we got to look at pregnancy. Pregnancy is called conception. You're conceiving a child. You also conceive thought. So the thought is the child is the physical manifestation of a thought. You feel what I mean? The child is a physical manifestation of a thought. And as I said, if you study the chakras and everything, that thought is an element. Thought is an element. It's the highest element. It's the element that is created with the seventh chakra associated with it. So you have your first chakra, which is earth. Your second chakra, sacral chakra, which is water. The third solar plexus is fire. The fourth is air, which is the heart chakra. The fifth is sound. The sixth is light, and then the seventh is thought. Okay, thought is an element, and each one of these elements are forms of creation. So it's not just the four basic ones of earth, air, fire, and water. You feel me? You have those sound. You have sound, light, and thought. Thought moves faster than light. Thought moves faster than the speed of light. And I say it all the time, but I digress. So we're in the Aquarian age. J. Edgar Hoover did this, with the fear of a black messiah. Okay, it started to really ramp up a lot more when you consider the year 2000, Y2K. That was the first mark when they started to say, okay, we got to pay attention. The world is coming to an end, and nothing happened. Right? Nothing happened. We thought it was going to be the apocalypse, the rapture, Armageddon, all that shit. And I'm getting into the significance of those points too. First, apocalypse means unveiling. It means to uncover. It doesn't mean a great destruction. When we look at Armageddon is a battle, but that battle already happened. The physical battle already happened on the mound of Armageddon in the Middle East. Okay. That battle has already happened. So it's not going to be a sky cracking. It's not going to be a major trumpet blowing. It's not going to be any of that shit, right? Those are, again, all metaphors. That's why I tell y'all, when you study your religion is supposed to teach you 3 points. It's supposed to teach you the mythology, the ritual, and the allegory. You feel me? By being in the Pisces age and being led by people who will not teach you the allegory point of it, you're going to think that all of this is real. So it keeps you in a fear state. It keeps you in a fear state. Why? Because it only allows you to access 8 degrees of your consciousness. 8 degrees of your consciousness when you're in the root chakra. And should you so happen to ascend the most, we're going to allow you to use 36. So when they tell you we're only using 36% of our brains, we're not. Because we're using 10% of our full consciousness. Okay, so the year 2000 was the first attempt to try to say, okay, is the Pisces age over? They're not going to tell you that they're talking about the Pisces age, or they were telling you about the Pisces age. They're going to, make you think it's about the full world, which is a reality. Because I said there's a difference between the world and the earth. The world is over. The world ended. You feel me? But the year 2000 came, nothing happened. So they said, okay, maybe we were wrong. So then what did they do next? They talked about the Mayan calendar. They said in the year 2012, the world is going to end according to the Mayan calendar. Okay? Okay? Now let's look at that. 2012 came, the world didn't end, but what did end? Because the Mayans also plotted their chart according to astrology. It wasn't a prediction that the world was going to end, the age of the world was going to end, which was the age of Pisces. It ended in 2012, right? So by ending in 2012, it segued into the Aquarian age. And of course, if you understand astrology, you have retrogrades. You have things where it moves forward and moves backwards, you know, within the cusp of when a transition happens. So we are full in, like in 2020, whatever the case may be, we're full into effect of the Aquarian age, right? So that's what the Mayans predicted, the end of an age, not the end of the world, the end of the age, you know. And the end of the age was the Pisces age, okay? So the Pisces age is marked by belief, you know, and this is why it's very important to understand your religion, especially the Bible. You know, both the Bible and the Quran are pretty much the same things. You feel what I'm saying? They're cousins. Like, come on, bro. Like, we look at religion and we think it's different. Like, no, they're cousins. They're all Abrahamic religions. And by being Abrahamic religions, you understand the two deviations between them. Ishmael was, you know, the focal and the head of the Quran and Islam. And Isaac was the head of Christianity and Judaism. And, you know, the Bible, of course. But it's metaphorical. It's metaphorical, you know, and the delineation between the two then marks different points. So if you understand the Quran, this is why the Quran symbol is, an Islam symbol is the crescent, because it's the moon. That's why. So the Quran is more closely related to the moon cycles and the lunar side of astrology, you know. And if you look at the Bible, it's more connected to the sun side of it. This is why it's called Holy Bible. You know, we say go back to the Greek and Hebrew concordances and shit. We read the whole book, but we skip the fucking title. It's called the Holy Bible. That translates to the Greek and Hebrew aspect to heliobiblios. Well, it translates to the Greek to heliobiblios. Helio is the sun. Biblios means book. Why the fuck are you calling this shit the sun book? So that means the Hebrews understood what the fuck the sun book was, which is also why when you go back into the Hebrew, you can't just go into it without understanding the alphabet. And if you understand the alphabet, the 22 letters of the alphabet are all the 22 paths of the tree of life. And the tree of life is just the encompassing of astrology, numerology, and esoteric magic. And when you look at a tarot card, the tarot puts that together. It puts all of it together. The tree of life, the 22 paths, the different things that you have to go through in life to ascend. So our ancestors, they made a juxtaposition to it. So if you look at the tree of life, you have the first point is Kether, and then the final point is Malkuth, right? You're supposed to go through the 22 paths of life in order to get from Kether to Malkuth. So if we understand the juxtaposition of where it came from, we have to then look at the stories of Heru and Ra, the difference between Heru and Ra. They're not a different person. There is no hierarchy. Heru didn't look up to Ra. Ra didn't look down to Heru. They're the same person. You got to look, the tree of life, how it's written, doesn't go up and down. It's not vertical, it's horizontal. You feel me? So you are simultaneously Heru and you are simultaneously Ra. You are simultaneously Malkuth, you are simultaneously Kether. And everything in between, you are it. And there's 22 paths between each one to get you to that point. So, you know, our ancestors left Heru. Heru will represent Malkuth. But there's 2 points of Heru. You know, when Heru experiences itself as Ra, it then comes to Heru-ur, which is the highest form of Heru, and then vice versa. Ra then has to see itself back. So the conceptualization of a god is, you know, they say that there's a phrase that says gods are immortal humans and humans are mortal gods. So there's a bridge between the 2 points where you have to get to your higher self, lower self, all of that shit. That's all that the tree of life is saying. But the point that I'm going back to is how the religion now plays into it, because the religion is telling you the story without telling you the story. So like I said, the Holy Bible is the sun book. It's about astrology. The Quran is about, you know, the moon cycles, the lunar cycles, also astrology as well, but it's from the lunar side. The Bible is from the solar side, the sun. So, like I said, then you have your symbolisms of the Quran being the crescent moon, and then you have the Bible being the cross, stupid. But the cross denotes death, and they change it from the ankh, whatever. I'm not going to get too heavy into that because I want to stick to the astrological principles of it. So when we look at the Bible is one of the most, the Bible and the Quran, like I said, but Bible is what's most pressed into into Black people. Most of us are either one of the two things, and those are perfectly fine. They don't want us to follow any other religion or anything like that, so they give us those. But the Bible, you have to understand the ritual, you have to understand the mythology, the ritual, and then the allegory. When you get to the allegory, you're able to understand that the Bible is split. This is why if you go to church, they say things like, oh, when Jesus came back, or the mark of Jesus was the new covenant, the New Testament. Like, you have the Old Testament, you have the New Testament, but the mark of Jesus is the new covenant. So they will tell you, okay, the things of the old covenant are dead. We don't follow that anymore. The reason why you don't follow that anymore is because the Old Testament is about the age of Aquarian, the age of Aries. That's why the Old Testament is so ridden with war. There's a lot of fighting, there's a lot of violence, and there's a lot of fire. I know they have the flood where, it killed all of the people or whatnot. I'm not even going to talk about the flood because that is something totally different. But, other than that, everything is about war. Everything is about destruction. If you look at Sodom and Gomorrah, they talk about when the angels came to destroy the land, they sacked the city with fire. It was fire and everything like that. Lot's wife? When she turned around, she turned into a pillar of salt. She didn't really turn into a pillar of salt. What she saw through the war and all of that shit, it petrified her. It scared her to death. You feel what I'm saying? She was traumatized, in layman's terms. But that's what the Old Testament is about. The Old Testament was about the age of Aries. This is why whenever you went to war, that's why the full Testament is about creating dominion and going over to different lands, taking them over. But again, it was all metaphorical. It was all allegorical. You dig what I'm saying? Because it marked the age of Aries. So what they said was there was going to be the Savior to come in. They kept prophesying and everything like that. And it wasn't really prophecy. You didn't have to prophesy if you knew the stars. You knew that you were going to go from the age of Aries to the age of Pisces next. Go from the age of Aries to the age of Pisces next. This is why Jesus is such a crucial character. First off, his name wasn't Jesus. So when you're reading a book that says there's no name greater than Jesus and that wasn't that man's name, you're being manipulated. You're being fucked over. But it is what it is. But you have to continue to pray and call onto that thing, whatever the case may be. But you don't understand that what you're doing is asserting the affirmation to remain in the Pisces age. This isn't me saying give up your religion or let the shit go. I'm saying understand it. Because it has significance as to what the fuck is happening to the Black man and the Black woman today. Okay? So Jesus' birth, Jesus coming into the world, was about the mark of the age of Pisces. You don't find it very coincidental or odd even that Jesus was called the fisher of men. A lot of Jesus' stories was around fish and water. A lot of Jesus' themes was love and belief. And what is the Pisces symbol? A fish. What is the Pisces symbol? A feminine energy. It's a feminine symbol. What else is the Pisces energy? It's about belief. The theme, the staple of Pisces is believing. Belief and love. Those are the themes of the New Testament. Feel me? Those are the themes of the New Testament. You dig what I mean? And when you look at the 12 disciples were all fishers of men. And if you look at it, each one of the disciples has an astrological connection with them. You feel me? Peter will be considered now there's different justifications behind it. Some people say, certain people have different things. Me personally, I look at it like this. I know Peter was the Aries. He was the hothead. He was the violent one. He was, the irrational one. That is evident in the fact that Jesus, in the moment when Jesus was betrayed, he was technically betrayed by a Gemini and an Aries. You feel me? Judas was the Gemini, the two-faced one, the one who had both sides. He was playing both sides of the field. So when they came to capture Jesus or whatnot, because Jesus represents the Pisces connection. Now, there is a Pisces sign in one of his 12 disciples, but Jesus represents the age and they represent the individual signs. Okay? So when he came to touch Jesus, Peter cut his ear off. That was Aryan energy. Shoot first, ask questions later. You feel me? And those points were very important. because now you understand when you have the Last Supper. The Last Supper is very important. The Last Supper is very important, not because it really happened, but because of what it represents for the zodiac. You feel what I'm saying? When you have the Last Supper, read in Luke, I want to say it's Luke 18 and 22. But in the Last Supper, before the Last Supper happened, Peter is talking to Jesus and he's asking him, how will we know where we have to go, what we have to do? And Jesus says, the man holding the gourd is going to lead you into the next house. He's going to lead you into the house. Again, an allegorical principle to show you that the next segue into where you guys are going to go, the 12 disciples, where you guys are going to go, the 12 zodiacs, the next phase that you guys are going to go into experience is going to be led by the man holding the gourd. What does the sign Aquarius hold? The sign of Aquarius is a man holding a pitcher, pouring out water. So it goes from the fish, which is the fisher of men, to the man holding the pitcher. Jesus is denoted as the fisher of men. He's denoted like all of the members in his clique were fishermen. Okay? When you look at the little symbols of Jesus on people's cars, the placards is the name Jesus in a fucking fish. Can't get any plainer than that. But they're not going to teach you that shit. They're not going to teach you that shit, But everything has to be connected and has to be seen, accordingly. So when you consider that the New Testament represents the age of the Bible, the New Testament represents the age of Pisces from the Bible, and everything is about love and believe. Who should so believe in his heart shall not perish but have everlasting life. Love thy neighbor and all of that shit. It went from the Aries energy of straight gangster shit, kill everything, to now we're going to love and believe. Love and believe. It goes Pisces. It then becomes passive. It goes from the action state of Aries, which is very masculine, to the loving side of Pisces, which is feminine. You feel me? Now we're coming back into the age of knowledge, which is Aquarian. We're in it. We're in it now. And it's going to take black men to transition it. That's the Black Messiah. Where we have the fear of a black, it's not one person. It's not one person. It's an energy. It's the masculine essence reviving and coming back to eradicate everything that happened in the previous epoch, the previous sign. Okay. So when you add that factor into it, and now this is why it's very important, because it's not a lie, but it's not the truth either. When, as people say, we're in the last days of the last days, the sky is going to crack, we're at the end, he's going to come back and it's going to be a new yeah, he's coming back, but it's not a physical person. The he that they're referring to is coming back is the masculine energy. That's the he. It's not a physical person. So when you look at it, they said when a great war happens, what's going to happen is what? The Leviathan, the great serpent, the alligator, whatever you're looking at it, the great reptile, the Leviathan is going to be released from hell, released from his cage, right? And when he's released, the 7 seals of the trumpet is going to break. You're going to have the 7 seals broken, and then the war is going to happen. At the end of the war, you're going to have a new mind, and you're going to have a new heaven and a new earth. That's the mythology, okay? Now, the allegory to that is that the Leviathan, the great serpent, is your Kundalini energy. Hell, the depths that he's locked in, is your root chakra. The 7 seals that have to break are your root chakra, your sacral chakra, your solar plexus, your heart chakra, your throat chakra, your brow chakra, and your crown chakra. After that 7th seal is broken, the 7th seal marks what? Armageddon, or the apocalypse. So if you go back to the Greek, the word apocalypse means the uncovering. It doesn't mean great battle. It means uncovering, the unveiling. What has to be unveiled when your 7th chakra is open? When your 7th chakra is open, you now break that mentality of the previous life, your previous life. So the new heaven and new earth is a new mind and new body. You feel what I mean? So when that battle happens, when that, you have transcended and you have ascended above the Pisces age. So when he comes back, there's going to be a new heaven and a new earth. You feel me? That's the allegory side to it. That's the allegory side to it. Now, the mythology is real. So they say what's going to happen is going to be disease, pestilence, all of these different things. And so when we look at it from a mythological perspective, we see the real shit. We're like, the coronavirus hit. When the coronavirus hit, it was, this is the sign of the times. That means he's coming back. That means he's this, Yeah, because you have to look at it from the allegorical perspective once you get the mythology. There's been disease running rampant and increasing the entire Pisces age, because it's going to take knowledge to eradicate a disease. The knowledge to come back and eradicate a disease. What holds knowledge? The masculine energy. So the things that are coming in as the signs of the time are problems that need to be solved. You feel me? So it could be the coronavirus, the flu virus, whatever the case may be, all of these different viruses, all of this shit that keeps coming up, Ebola, all of that shit. It's to keep people focused on the mythology, not the reality of the allegory that is happening. You feel what I'm saying? So, like I said, when we look at the great battle that is supposed to happen, it's your spiritual awakening. There's going to be a spiritual awakening, a mass spiritual awakening of masculine energy to transcend you into masculine energy. It's going to take men to do it, specifically black men to do it. You cannot ascend and and open up your crown chakra if you're continually stuck on your root chakra. How do you get stuck on your root chakra? By continually watching social media events, by continually seeing your people die. That keeps you in a state of fear. Because when you go through your chakras and you go through your cleansings and your changings, what's going to happen is this. Ascending through each level of the chakra puts you in a different space. Collectively, as the black community, as black people in the world, not just America, not just the, whatever. By ascending that, we're developing personal identity. So the chakras go like this. You have the root chakra, which is survival. Your sacral chakra, which is emotions, feelings. Your feelings and emotions. Your your solar plexus is your personal identity. When you can get to your personal identity, then you're able to ascend to love. Love is not a feeling, love is a power. And that's where your heart chakra sits. And that's why the elements are earth, water, fire, then air. See, air is a tangible, intangible aspect. You cannot feel air. You cannot physically see air. Air starts to transition into the intangible space. You dig what I'm saying? If we can develop our personal identity, then we can move forward. And we're able to grieve. We're able to deal with these things. Grieving is a very powerful thing to do to overcome that heart chakra space. But if what you do, you have to have personal identity to be able to successfully grieve. So they're not allowing us to develop and maintain our personal identity. Our personal identity has to be rooted in everything that they want it to be. So we have to continually have these inferiority complexes. We have to continually have these mentalities of self-hate, because that allows for when the shit happens to send us back to our root chakra. You feel me? As opposed to if our personal identity is strong, when shit like this happens, it pushes us forward to a higher one. You feel me? So then once we get from the heart and we master that, then we're able to go to our throat, our brow, and then our crown. That's the spiritual awakening. They're literally stopping Revelations. So the book of Revelations is the 7 seals supposed to be happening. They're stopping the 7 seals from breaking, because they're able to keep that third seal shut by sending you back down to the first one to start over, sending you back down to the second one to start over. So them killing us is their response to that, because the moment that happens, masculinity resurfaces, and when masculinity resurfaces, the Aquarian age, then it's already in full effect, right? It's already in full effect. So that's another one of my justification points. The other piece of that is that now they're having to kill. They're doing this now because they have to focus on people who are born in the late 80s and early 90s. And the reason why they have to target those people is because astrologically, we look at natal charts. We look at all this astrology and don't think that they're studying astrology too. You feel me? There's a very, very important reason why when you get your birth certificate, they put why the time of birth is so important. Why the location is so important. Why all of that stuff is so important, because they're running your shit too. But they don't run it for the individual, they run it for the generation. So late 80s, early 90s babies are those born at the start and the transition. You feel me? They call us millennials. They call us all of these things. The baby boomers were the last of the Pisces age. The millennials are the start of the Aquarian age, and Gen Z, they're the overlap. Why do you think they call them Generation Z? Z is the end. Z is the last letter. It's the last letter of the alphabet for a reason. They call them Generation Z for a reason, because that is the end. That is the end of the Pisces age. That is the last generation of the Pisces age. We're the first generation of the Aquarian age. Even in the Bible, it says, last shall be first, first shall be last. There's a reason for all of these things, but they have to teach you only the mythology and don't give you the allegory, because the allegory liberates you when you understand what the fuck is really happening. All right. Look. The markets are not a difficult place to understand. All right. You just have to know what you're looking at. And there's 5 things that you need to see before you can make any market entry. First, you need a pocket so you can know which direction the market is going in. Second, you need a pullback so you can get the better price. Third, you need a battlefield so you can see when that market movement is slowing down. Fourth, you need the upper hand so you can see when the market reactivates. And last, you need a final push so you can see the exact moment when it's time to go with the direction you are already moving in. Okay? Of course, there's so much more that has to go into that, and it's not as cut and dry as that. But those are things that I teach in my Masculinity the Market course. So if you would like to learn more, please visit IamJustSeen.com and check out the Masculinity the Market course today. Although it is directed and specialized for Forex, all of the skills, I crafted them to be transferable to any market that you're looking at. So again, visit IamJustSeen.com and check out the Masculinity the Market course today if you are truly looking to master the market. Oh yeah, and don't forget, while I still got you, you can use promo code QUARANTINE to save over 90% off of the enrollment of the full price of the course. That is QUARANTINE, QUARANTEEN. Okay, so now back to the astrological point of it. So they're running your natal charts, but they're running the natal chart for the collective. Because when you start to get into the higher aspects, like there's an asteroid belt that separates the first 5 planets from the last 4. But let me see, Jupiter, Saturn, Jupiter. Yeah, in the last 4, Saturn, Jupiter, Neptune. No, 5, I'm right. Wait, hold on. It's Saturn, Jupiter, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. Those are considered the transformative planets. You spend a lot more time according to those transits. Those transits run from years on end. You know, Saturn is like, 3 years. Like Saturn doesn't come back around into a particular sign for like 29 years. You feel what I'm saying? It's a reason for that, So Pluto is the last planet. That's another reason why, if you paid attention over the years, they took Pluto out of the solar system. They didn't take it out, but they tried to say Pluto is no longer a planet because it's too far out. It's the reason for that. Pluto is the last planet. It's the last planet. And our generation, we're born with the millennials, typically, anybody between late 80s, early 90s, their Pluto is in Scorpio. If you understand astrology, Pluto is a transformative energy. The planet of Pluto gives you a transformative energy. Scorpio is a transformative sign. What the fuck do you think happens when a collection or a generation of people are born under transformation? Transformation is going to happen. Transformation is going to happen. So what do? I have to shut you down biologically. We think vaccines and shit increase like this for a reason. No. Our vaccines are going to shut you down because we know that y'all are the transformative generation. We're the start of this shit. We're the start of the Aquarian age. So these fear tactics are designed to shut down those babies. Shut down the early 90s, the late 80s, early 90s babies. I could be reaching, but I can damn sure justify everything that I'm saying from whatever aspect you want me to do it from. You dig what I mean? And now, if you ever get a chance, check your astrology. Check your natal chart. If you were born between mid to late 80s, early 90s, up until like 95, chances are you got your Pluto in Scorpio. Because and this is why you feel that, man, this world needs to change. I hate this shit. Like, this shit got to stop. When is it going to stop? Because you're the change. We're the collective change for this shit. But the thing about it is, our collective change is in light of reviving masculinity. You feel me? So they have to kill off. They have to kill off the men. They have to kill off the men and damage the wombs. So when you look at Planned Parenthood and all this shit, like look at what started popping within our generation. You feel what I mean? Vaccines increased. When we were young, I'd say we probably had like, 7 vaccines, 7 shots that we had to get as babies. These babies have like 22 shots now. Numbers don't lie, bro. 22, the 22 paths are like, you're blocking a lot of shit. But anyway, I'm not going to get too heavy onto that shit. I want to stick to the topic at hand. So we're looking at these motherfuckers do, all kinds of shit to us because our babies, anybody born after this is Aquarian. We started this shit, so all of our children are going to be Aquarian. We're the first of this Aquarian age. You feel what I mean? They told us. Generation Z has an overlap. Like I said, it has an overlap to where some of them are Pisces, some of them are Aquarian. This is why you look at certain generations and you like I know people who are, let me see, in between, let's say 35, I'm gonna say anywhere between 35 and 55. That would be Gen Z, roughly around there. 35 and 55 or 35 and 50. Roughly that's Generation Z. And there's a split. You have some of them that are quote unquote woke. You have some of them that still sleep and can't get it because there's an overlap. You feel me? There's an overlap. I know people that are in their 40s that understand they be understanding everything I'm talking about. Then I got people that's stuck in they're stuck in their ways. But in my generation, a lot of us are more leaning towards the side of, let that shit go. But a lot of us can't do it because of the fear of letting go of, leaving family and friends. Like, there's no reason why the collective of, we all study astrology. We all study. Some of us may not mention it. Some of us may not study, but there's a reason why we have these affinities for these things. For esoteric sciences, the occult and all of that shit. We know it's not evil. We know it's not evil for real. We're learning that. A lot of the shit that they taught us was evil. We're starting to realize that shit wasn't evil. It really wasn't. But I see why people made it evil. You feel me? Because they don't understand the levels to the shit. Like if you're doing a tarot spread and you get the death card, you feel me? When you have that Piscean understanding, you're thinking physical death. Very well could be physical death, but there's also mental and spiritual death as well, the ending of cycles and things like that. So when you start to see these different things, they keep you away from it because they want you to visualize that it's evil, because we cannot allow you to come into the Aquarian age. If you come into the Aquarian age as you're supposed to, the shit changes. The game has to change. So what we have to do is focus on keeping you guys here. You feel me? There's no reason why, the fear of, I fear for my life. Yeah, they already knew what they were going to do. This is why they created the propaganda. They knew this shit with the civil rights movement. They knew this shit with the civil rights movement. We didn't start the civil rights movement. We were faces of it. We didn't start like the NAACP was ran by white people. You feel what I'm saying? The civil rights movement was permitted by white people, and it just put the black faces up there. This is why we fought for civil rights. They didn't tell us to fight for black rights. They didn't tell us to fight for human rights. They told us to fight for civil rights. Why was that important? Why was that important? Because they know that we're going to be able to do all of these different things in between time. You have the civil rights. After the civil rights, you kill off the Black Panthers because it's like, okay, cool. Well, you guys fought for civil rights. The shit that y'all doing isn't civilized. Shit that y'all doing isn't civilized. So we're going to infuse into the music. There was an actual meeting where they said, you know what? We're going to start promoting the gangster shit. They'll kill each other off of that. That's propaganda. That's easy press and easy propaganda to get to the point where when we start our plan, nobody's going to stop us. Nobody's going to bat an eye but them. Everybody else is going to let it go. Nobody's going to have the compassion and have the know-how to say, yo, this is wrong. You're killing humans. You're doing this. Nah, they knew what they were doing. They started that shit with the civil rights movement. If you pay attention, a lot of the civil rights movement, what was publicly done was beating. They was beating us, spraying us with water hoses and shit like that. It was just the physical aspect, the beating of us. You feel what I'm saying? They never really started killing us heavy the way they're doing now, because now it's permitted to do so. Now we fought for civil rights. Hey, this is what y'all asked for? No, this is what y'all told us to ask for, and this is what the dumb motherfuckers decided to go with. And we're going to be passive. We're going to be peaceful. We're not going to fuck with y'all. We're not going to retaliate. We're not going to honor the first rule of nature, which is self-preservation. We're not going to do any of that shit. But what we're going to do is try to assimilate into your culture, try to fuck with you and just beg and plead for us. Like I tell people, stop saying Black Lives Matter, start affirming that Black matter lives. You feel me? Fuck them. But they're doing all of this shit. From the civil rights movement, they now decided, okay, They think it's forward thinking. The civil rights movement was 1964 when it was signed. All right. So in 1964, they killed Martin Luther King in 1968 when he decided to say, you know what? I think I'm integrating my people into a burning house and I might be going the wrong way with this shit. Yes, it's burning, motherfucker. Thank you. It's hot. Yes, you did that shit. Own that shit. You got to own that shit. Everybody talking about he want no fuck that. He put us in his fucking burning house. And this bitch is on fire right now. You feel me? It's on fucking fire. But anyway, the propaganda was after the civil rights movement, we're going to create certain things. We're going to put drugs in their community because we're going to start, like, you don't see the power of the drug. Like, when did the crack epidemic pop off? In the 80s. The 80s babies are crack babies. I'm not saying everybody born in the 80s is a crack baby, but the 80s babies is that crack generation. Either the mother was on crack rock herself, or the father was selling it, being taken and then being. And then, so then the 90s happened, you know? Oh shit, they got hyped to it. They realized that, yo, this is an addicting drug. So rather than selling it, rather than smoking it myself, I'm gonna sell it to motherfuckers who can afford it and get them addicted to it and take their fucking money. Oh shit, so now the 90s hits. What we're gonna have to do now is put higher laws up. So if you get caught with cocaine, it's a map on the wrist, because we understand that we're not putting cocaine in their neighborhoods, we're putting crack in there. And who's going to be selling crack? The motherfucker that got hit to it, that seen what the fuck we was doing to his mama. He's about 18 years old. Now I'm going to sell the crack. Between 17 and 25 years old is where our prison population happens. You dig what I mean? It's where our prison population is most in effect. Because, okay, we're going to take the virulent ones out. Not the violent, the virulent ones is in the ones who can actually make this change and create the babies. You feel what I'm saying? So the 80s was the crack babies. 90s was the prison babies. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of us was born without fathers for that very reason. Some of them walked out, but then some of them, your fathers were incarcerated. A lot of the fathers were in jail. It made that shit cool. You did time. You feel me? Then that shit became cool, putting in time and all that shit, right? So this was a strategic fucking plan 40 years in the making. And then you add Planned Parenthood to that bitch. Oh, we think, oh, yes, I don't fuck with Planned Parenthood any way, shape, or form, because it's about pro-choice, your body, your choice. White people ain't getting abortions. They can't even have babies. Their birth rate has been negative for the longest. They need fertilization drugs to have kids. There's no abortion clinics in the suburbs. There's no abortion clinics in that shit, but they're in every one of our communities. Because we have to kill the Black Messiah, and the Black Messiah is masculine energy. Masculine energy is going to come back. We have to make sure we can't let that shit come the fuck back. So we're going to take the fathers out of the home. We're going to encourage the women to get abortions. And when they get abortions, we're going to sterilize them. They're not going to be able to procreate. You feel me? They're not going to be able to procreate. So much so that now when they go to the fucking hospital, we're going to assume that they're not even in fucking pain when they tell us they're going to die on a child bed. They're going to die on a fucking bed. You feel what I'm saying? We're going to keep them in their root chakra. They will not break these 7 seals. They will not transition into this they will not transition into the system. We're going to continue to do shit to them. Okay? So now we fast forward. We have the crack. We have all of these different things. Last point, we're going to do the music. To go from in the 80s, we can't put that shit on the airways. So now that shit is everywhere. Oh, sipping lean, sipping light. Look at what you're doing. Tupac said, when you can't rap about what you want to rap about, they're going to make you rap about money, fucking, partying, and drugs and shit, because they're not going to let you talk about what you want to talk about. You dig what I mean? Those things are a part of understanding who the fuck was going to be born, at what time they were going to be born, and what the fuck we're going to have to do to them to keep certain shit from happening. The age of the Aquarius is here. The babies of the Aquarian age are here. Now we have to keep them from having babies, having healthy babies. Now it's, you got to get this mandatory vaccine. Oh no, you need some mandatory vaccines. We're not going to let you get there. We can't, because when you get there, you take the earth back. Like I said, it's not feminine energy. It's not feminine energy that is lacking. It's masculine energy. And the motherfucker's coming back. The motherfucker is coming back. You feel what I'm saying? But they got to prevent it. They know what the fuck is going on. They planned this for the longest. They knew. So now Planned Parenthood, a lot of in addition to Planned Parenthood, they hit us before we even knew the fight. Before they were like, okay, let's get Depo, birth control, NuvaRing, all of these different things, right? Your body ain't supposed to be in no shit. And not like it ain't supposed to have that shit in you. A lot of women are sterilized right now for that very reason, because they were on birth control at one point in time. A lot of women are struggling to have kids right fucking now. A lot of black women are struggling to have kids right fucking now because they've been on birth control. And they got off. You dig? And it's like, yo, why are we struggling to have babies? Like, why can't, you feel me? It's that reason. I'm going to be responsible. I know you're going to be fucking, so I'm going to go ahead and put you on birth control. You're going to sterilize. You're going to sterilize yourself. You're going to sterilize yourself. The science is already there. Eugenics was a real thing. The Eugenics Society with Margaret Sanger and them, Margaret Sanger, her motto was that if the Negro, within 100 years, the Negro would pretty much wipe us off. They knew what the fuck they were doing. They knew. And then, like I said, you start to add the esoteric side to the shit. And now you see how they're moving, how these monsters are moving. Yeah, it's normal. So now it's like I said, civil rights movement. They gave you the civil rights movement. Then you had the 80s. 70s you had pimps and shit. 80s you had crack. 90s you had gangster music and all of that shit endorsing it. Yo, we killing niggas, yo. It's a good thing to kill niggas. Then you had the changing of the guards, right? You had the 2000s, which happened to be the flashy shit, right? But in addition to the flashy shit, there was a lot of drug use. I seen the transition change to where literally I grew up listening to music to sell drugs, and then the very next decade, it was to use them. And some of the same rappers that were once rapping about selling drugs were rapping about using them. Bitch, how you getting high on your own supply? What the fuck is wrong with you? I sold crack, now I sip lean. Nigga, the fuck is wrong with you? Because now they know. Now we're going to start testing these waters. And we can see what we're going to get away with. We already created the entire system for the world to look at these motherfuckers negatively. For the world to see these motherfuckers as uncivil. For the world, not knowing that we started all of this shit. We did all of this shit to them. We planted every single one of these seeds and let them nourish it. So now, when you have a little 17-year-old kid wearing a hoodie, he gets shot. Why? Because, we already depicted the shit. I'm masked up with my hoodie on. I'm going to go rob somebody. Okay, he's a shifty character. Okay, let's go kill him. Nothing happens to the guy. Because when you fight for civil rights, they can pick and choose what's civil and what's not. They told you what the fuck to fight for, genius. I said it like I always say, I respect for what they tried to do. The only good thing that came out of that shit was the bus boycott, but that shit wasn't permanent. Everything else was pacifism. Why? Because masculine energy is not passive. Masculine energy is active than a motherfucker. But see, masculine energy is in reactive. Feminine energy is reactive. Masculine energy is proactive. You feel me? This is why they took out the Panthers, bro. They said, okay, Panthers, we got to stop these motherfuckers, because if they can influence the 90s babies, the early 80s and 90s babies, if they can influence them, we got some shit on our hands. Let's take them out. Let's demonize them. Let's not even teach about them. Like, they don't even know how to invoke their ancestors because they're learning about our ancestors in history class. All they're going to know in history class is that they were slaves, and now they're no longer slaves. We did y'all dirty, and I want y'all to keep understanding that. You feel what I'm saying? So we have to factor that shit in. We have to put all of that shit into perspective. So now the plan's in motion. We stopped them before the Aquarian age happened. And then, icing on the cake, we gave them a black president. We gave them a black president the moment the Aquarian age started. To see, we had to test the waters to see what was up. He went from 2008 to 2012. 2012, the Aquarian age kicked in, according to the Mayan calendar, the Mayan prediction. The end of the world was going to happen. It did. End of the Aquarian age. Now we're going to give you a motherfucker who looks like you, but he's going to do what we tell him to do, right? So then when you look at the violence and shit, they're like, nothing stopped. Nothing fucking stopped. He didn't step in and say, okay, look, let's do, like, no. He was a pawn. He was a piece. He didn't fucking matter. You feel me? He didn't fucking matter. And then after him, who they give us? Who they give us? Oh, we're going to make America great again. They playing this shit. So now I'm 30. I was born in 1990. I'm 30. You feel me? My generation. You know how many of my peers say they don't want to have kids? Not because they're not built for it. Not because they don't ready. Because it's like, I don't want them to die. I don't want to bring no child into this world. Plan, execute it. Plan, succeed it. Constantly kill them. Constantly kill them. Show them. Like, it got to the point where now we know that when we shoot and kill them, they're going to repost it. They're thinking they're spreading awareness. I don't knock it. Do it. Do what you need to do and what you feel your heart is compelled to do. You feel what I'm saying? But understand we are contributing to our own fear, the own sustainment of our fear chakra energy to keep us in fear, keep our emotions all fucked up because we can't think. You can't think when you're emotional. You don't. You feel me? They know what they're doing, and they chose to do it, and I'm not mad at it. They're doing it well. If I'm on like this from a masculine perspective, it's like this. If you set to execute a plan and you see the execution working, plan succeeded. You feel me? So I get it from that perspective. Hell yeah, I'm against it. Bitch, you looking for my demise. You feel what I'm saying? So now we're seeing videos of and again, this is how they're trying to keep us Piscean. They're very strategic in what they do. When Dylan Roof shot up a church. He shot up a fucking church. Everybody just came together and prayed. This nigga made it into a church with a gun and killed 9 people. Nobody beat that motherfucker ass. He made it out unlumped. Like, fuck that shit, bro. He shouldn't have made it past the door. As soon as that first shot would have fired, the masculine energy wasn't there. Masculine energy, I'm gonna tell you something about masculine energy. This is both from experience and understanding. When masculine energy kicks in, true masculine energy, your divine masculine energy, something takes over you and you respond. Something takes over. You don't react, you respond, right? Fear is out of the window. All of the things that would stop you from doing something is out of the window. Every one of these men in this church prayed. You feel me? When Bachman Jean, his brother, he wanted to say, oh, I'm going to love her like Jesus would. You're a bitch. You feel me? We're praying with the A and they're praying with the E. You feel me? That's what they're doing. You feel me? The most recent one, couple days ago, the lady literally said, I'm going to call the police and tell them you're an African-American man. She knew what the fuck she was doing. She was calling the police to come kill you. Oh, my life is destroyed because he recorded and everything. And then the goofy motherfucker comes on and says, I don't want her life to be destroyed. Fuck that. Masculinity would have put your fucking feet up and you would have been eating grapes like, bitch. What? We know we're at war, my people. We're at war. That's why I just did the episode on allies and enemies. We're at fucking war. And now we see we don't have any allies. My guy, we don't have any allies. One of the cops watching the shit was an Asian dude. That's why I said there's only 3 races of people, the African, they working together. They're working together. We cannot let the black man take the earth back. Now, they taught us everything. They taught us everything. All of the shit that we're using right now, they taught us. We're not letting them take that shit back again. We will never sit at their feet again. Yes, you will. Yes, you will. You know what? That's why you have to do everything that you have to do in your power. You can't stop this shit. They can't stop this shit because the Aquarian age is here. Masculine energy is coming back. Trust me. Trust me when I tell you that. Masculinity is alive and well, and the true divine masculine is coming back. And the true divine masculine is what's going to change this shit. You feel me? You can't pray for your enemy. Like, I'm going to turn it to like, that was a man, turn a cheek to your enemy? That's some bitch-made shit, bro. I don't give a fuck how religious you try to say it is and how much of a bigger, fuck that. I'm going to show you that I'm bigger. Because sometimes you got to let motherfuckers know that you're a bigger person. You feel what I'm saying? Now, this is not to me say go wild out and just go start killing motherfuckers. No. Masculine energy is very strategic. Don't be a barbarian, be a warrior. Don't be a barbarian. I'm not telling you to go do nothing that I wouldn't do myself. You feel me? But at the same time, I'm very strategic and calculated with a lot of the shit that I do. So, you feel me? That's what collectively we all have to be, you know? They know this shit is happening. They know this shit is coming. You feel what I'm saying? So they have to suppress that. They have to suppress it the best way they can. When they start to see the shit coming together, put fear in them. Put fear back in. Corona wasn't working. We didn't fear that shit. Corona wasn't working. Now watch this shit. Coronavirus gonna magically disappear now. They gonna keep these news running and these feeds running so they can erase the coronavirus right off of the face of this earth. Watch this shit. Watch how this shit plays the fuck out. Niggas gonna forget about the corona like a motherfucker right now. Everybody's gonna forget about the shit. It's not even a factor anymore. Nobody paid attention to that when this man got arrested. The cop did not have on a mask. He didn't have on not one single fucking mask. None of the cops did. So is it a joke or not? Social distancing? You feel me? Makes you wonder. Things that really make you go, Because they're definitely smudging the numbers. See, what you don't understand is a lot of people aren't dying from coronavirus. A lot of them are dying with it. But they're telling you it's from it. So that's why the numbers are so high. Nah, they knew what they were doing. They know exactly what they're fucking doing. You know, you stay in this perpetual state of fear. Oh, the Ebola hit. Okay, last days of the last days. Corona hit. Last days of the last days. You don't understand what the fuck that really means. The last days of the last days are the last days for the Piscean energy. Aquarian energy is here. We're in the first days of the first days and we don't even fucking know the shit. The spiritual awakening, all that shit is happening. Everybody's just now getting scared. I'm going to go study this. No. Ascend. Motherfucker, ascend. That's what the universe is telling you. We're the Messiah. Masculine energy is the fucking Messiah that they're afraid of. You feel me? They knew it was coming. They didn't have to predict it. The stars said it was going to come. So when masculine energy resurfaces, you already know who's going to take over. Who's going to take precedence. You feel me? They've been planning this shit for a long time. So now, like I said, when they kill us in the street, we fought for civil rights. So when they kill us, it's just like, okay, we already demonized black folks. We already demonized them. Ain't nobody going to believe them. Don't nobody care they cry. Ain't nobody going to care if they cry. Ain't nobody going to care if they mourn and they want justice. And then what's going to happen is we're going to take it to court. And then when we take it to court, we're going to say, we're going to find them not guilty. They're going to go fuck some more shit up, but they're not going to become masculine. They're not going to tap into their masculine energy. They're not going to ascend into their masculine space. We're going to make sure of that shit. And if they do ascend into the masculine, we'll kill them. Because masculinity it has them second guessing it whether they should go to war or not. You feel me? Like I always say, you feel me? That's where the self-hatred part comes in. Because when we look at how easy it is to go get that motherfucker that night that looks just like us if they go shoot us up, come on. And then watch this shit. Watch a lot of these top motherfuckers talking about dropping addresses and shit for you. Don't do that. Tell that motherfucker to go kill him. Real G's moving silent. Moving silence. Don't let a motherfucker give you the address and say, all I'm saying is no, because now they're trying to invoke you for masculinity is not reactive. It's proactive. You got to move in silence. Your left hand should never know what your right hand has done. Fuck is doing. It should never know what your right hand has done. That's how forward ahead you got to be with this shit. You feel me? And that's what the Aquarian age is supposed to be teaching us. It's to know, not to believe that these motherfuckers are going to change. It's to know their nature and know that they're going to stay the same forever. And then knowing that they're going to stay the same forever, draw the line. Y'all are my enemies, bro. All of y'all. The Asian, the Arab, all of them. It's us against them. It's us against the world. And they know that shit. Because like I said, once the Aquarian age comes back, our intelligence is significantly through the roof already. And now when we add this masculine energy to the shit and we're in the space of knowing, the space of being able to know, I'm telling you, your walls is crumbling down. But we got to keep them on their root chakra. We got to keep them in a state of perpetual fear. Instantly, black women all over the world. I love y'all. I love y'all so much, and I respect everything that y'all doing. Love a black man today, and all of that shit. That's the fear. Rationale is going to follow emotionality. When they trigger y'all, they know we're going to try to console you. They know we're naturally going to try to come, forget the bullshit. Like when tragedy hits, you see who a black man really is. He's going to console his woman. Fuck the facade and the indoctrination and the shit that we have been led to accept. We naturally come for that, But that fear, she's not going to want me to do this. I seen another video where a dude was talking, it was acting like he was talking to his mother. It was like a TikTok. And she was like, don't drive this car because, they're going to say you stole it. Don't wear that hoodie because you remember what happened to Trayvon. Don't go running because you remember what happened to Ahmaud. You feel me? Like, do you see how we can create our own shit? Where are the fathers at to say, okay, this is what it is? Like, they feared that. They feared it. That's why they disbanded the Panthers. They said, these motherfuckers is masculine. But we don't need them to be masculine. We need to eliminate them before they transition into the masculinity when the masculinity hits, because we can't stop it at that point. We can't stop it at that point. They were militant. They were disciplined. They were structured. They were masculine men. You feel me? They didn't fear. They didn't have that state of fear. They were ascended into their masculine space. And that's what this is all about. That's why the Aquarian age is happening. That's why they're doing the shit that they're doing. I could be, fuck that. I'm not reaching. I'm not about to keep saying that shit, bro. I'm not about to keep saying that shit. I know what the fuck is happening. You feel me? We can stay on this basic level with this basic carnal shit of, oh, this is that. And you're thinking too, no, I'm not thinking too deeply. You're not thinking deep fuck enough. This is what we built on. This is what our shit is connected on mentally, spiritually, and physically. Like, we're above this shit. And they have us reduced down to where we can't even function as we're supposed to. We're in the Aquarian age, bro. We're in the masculine age. The masculine era is here. Trust me, yo. I'm telling you, I don't do the shit that I do for nothing. I know my mission in this bitch. I know my role, and I know how to play it. You feel me? I know I had to be silent for a little bit. I ain't gotta be quiet no more. I ain't gotta be quiet no more. I knew what I had to do to maneuver certain shit. Like, this shit was given to me years ago. This shit was given to me when I came into this motherfucker. You feel what I'm saying? I'm a spark for this shit. You dig what I mean? I know that now. This shit is happening because of what the fuck they knew what was gonna happen. So you don't have just check, like, everything that I said, like, all of it can't be coincidental. All of it can't be coincidental. But see, they know what the fuck is happening. They know what the fuck they're doing, and they know what the fuck they have to do. And as long as they keep us in fear, as long as they make it feel like, oh, we can't, like, nah. We have to do something, but it's different. The thing that we have to do is different. We knew, like, all of a sudden, instantly, like, once things start happening to black folks, everybody, we ain't one no more. We ain't one no more. Because we were never one. We were never with them. We were never on their side or anything like that. And now it's showing you. It goes right back into the whole dynamic of pay attention to what the fuck is happening. Pay attention to what the fuck they do. They're going to keep, the killings are going to keep happening. You feel me? And they're going to keep showing them to you. They're going to keep relooping them. They're going to keep putting you in that space. Why? Because if the black man fears that he cannot overcome this situation, he'll never become a masculine being. You feel me? He'll never become a masculine being. He'll never understand what it takes to actually tap into that masculinity. He won't do shit. I know so many religious men who are I'm gonna keep praying. Like, don't pray. Spray. My nigga. Spray. Look, I was watching Dragon Ball Z and shit. Right? And Gohan, the motherfucker wasn't trying to fight Cell. Cell was killing every fucking body. Cell was whooping everybody ass. And Gohan was the only motherfucker with the power to do this shit. The android told Gohan, he said, bro, it's not a sin to kill for doing right. He said, there are people who words alone will not reach. He said, you already got the power. He said, you got a gentle heart. You don't like to hurt. But he said, you have a gentle heart. You don't like to hurt. But he said, it's because of your gentle heart that you have to protect. Again, let me say this. I'm not telling nobody to go ride on these motherfuckers right now. Not right now. Because you need a plan. You need a strategy. You need understanding before you do anything stupid. That's being reactive, not proactive. Do I want to go do something? Hell yeah, I want to go do something. Do I want to set up some shit and yeah, I want to go right now, but I can't do it by myself. You feel me? This was my family. Like literally my family. Not just because we was black. It was my family. I'm watching the news and my cousin is on the fucking TV asking for justice and shit. To see her in that state, I'm like, yo, that's my fucking cousin, bro. Damn, I want to go do something, but it's like I can't. Like you can't just react. Especially not in the heat of the moment. You feel me? This is why if you ever pay attention to it, when people see debts have to be paid. Life for life is a debt, right? This is why the law system is the way that it is. It's like if you kill somebody in the heat of a moment, you can get away with it because it's emotional. See, a premeditated thing, they're like, yo, that was premeditated. No. You got to pay your debt. You feel me? But you got to move according to that. You feel me? You have to move according to premeditation is a reality. Premeditation is a masculine thing, actually. You sit, you calculate, you think about all of the ways that you have to move. You dig what I'm saying? But you can't, the goal is to suppress everybody. I'm not numb to the shit. I'm not ignoring what the fuck is happening. I know they're killing us. I know what they're doing. But I also know what I have to do prior to making any move. You can't go to war as a warrior with barbarians. You feel me? You have to understand the warrior spirit. You have to understand the warriorhood and understand that intelligence comes first. You have to calculate that battle to win it. You dig what I mean? You have to calculate that battle to win it. Right now, a lot of us are up in arms. Our emotions are fueling. That's not masculine energy. You feel me? And they know that we're not going to respond for masculine energy. We're going to get sloppy. You feel me? We're going to get sloppy. And so you have this entire web. It's like they kept us bound. They keep us bound because they understand what the Aquarian age is really about. You know, I'm like this, yo. If we're going to come into the new age shit and we're going to study the stars, and we're going to be about astrology and all of that shit, let's be on it for real, bro. Know what the fuck this shit is really doing, what it really means. Fuck compatibility. Oh, I want to run my natal chart so I can fucking find the love of my life. Shut the fuck up. Know this shit for real, bro. Know how the energies move. Know what you're supposed to be doing with certain energies, what you're not supposed to be doing with certain energies. How you fucking move. Stop trying to just find a fucking goddamn relationship all the fucking time. Create some shit. You feel me? We're in the Aquarian age, the age of knowledge for a reason. And being in the age of knowledge, you don't want people to know. So how do you keep people from knowing? You keep them in a state of fear. So they're always feeling. We don't think about shit, but we feel everything. We're always feeling. We ain't really thinking. You feel me? We're always feeling and shit. Like, you feel me? That's how you keep it emotional. That's how you keep it emotional. Keep you in a perpetual state of fear. You feel me? I'm not saying let go of religion. I'm saying understand how religion is a tool that is used. You feel me? If that's what gets you your solace, that's what brings you your peace or whatever the case may be, by all means, fuck with it. But at the same time, understand that you're staying at the level of mythology if you do not wish to understand the ritual, if you do not wish to understand the allegory. You feel me? If you're just using astrology to find a fucking mate or some shit, and you're not using it to create, you're not using it to tap into your natural energies when these transits hit. You feel me? They do this shit for a reason. This shit doesn't pop off until spring and summertime. Because that's when we become the most active. So like I was saying, back to the Aquarian age shit about the cosmological astrology. You know, for the next 18,000 years, the world's going to be hot. People think the ice cap melting and shit is because of global warming. Yes, there is a global warming. You know why? Because we're coming into cosmological spring. Then after cosmological spring is summer, then fall. You feel me? It's still 4 seasons, but now it's a lot longer time. They trying to get off this motherfucking planet or trying to figure out a way to keep themselves cold. They can't. There's nowhere they're going to be able to survive on this motherfucker. So for them, if I can't have this planet, can't nobody have this planet. Especially not the people who this planet belongs to. You feel me? You're going to see. You're going to see. You feel me? Their birth rate is already declining. It's been declining. They're on the endangered species list. Motherfuckers think I be trying to be funny when I say that shit. Look it up. Look up the Caucasian birth rate around the world. They've had a negative birth rate for the last, 8 years? A negative birth rate, which means that more people are dying than people are being born. We have to do this for population control. Yeah, y'all are going extinct. I would want to control the population too. But y'all can't stay here. Nothing about this planet is built for you. Until winter comes. Until cosmic winter comes, which is how long? About 10,000 years. Ironically, the Ice Age, when they came into this plane. Think about it. The code is built for them. It ain't built for us. But we're going to have this shit for the Aquarian age starts this shit. Y'all can pay attention to it or not. Y'all can see it. But this is a battle. This is a battle. Everybody talk, well, this is something that's happening on the spiritual realm. Well, understand the spirituality then, goddammit. Understand that the spirituality denotes the stars. It denotes the numbers. It denotes everything. It's not like religion and spirituality is not the same shit. Spirituality is balance. Balance. We're in fucking balanced right now. We are imbalanced like a motherfucker. We need to restore the balance. How do you restore the balance? The masculine energy. Because at this moment right now, masculinity is not doing its part. But what is battling is toxic femininity and femininity. Toxic femininity destroys. Healthy femininity creates. Why do you think they're destroying us? Because that creation is going to lead into the creation of the masculine energy. So pay attention to these times. Pay attention to these times. Everybody keeps asking why. This is why they're killing us. They know more than what we're willing to look into to know. You feel me? You were between late 80s, early 90s. Check your astrology. Check your natal chart for real. Don't look at it for no fucking bullshit ass compatibility. Look at it for the shit that you got to use to change the world. You feel me? Check your Pluto. Check your Pluto. If you were born between 83 and 95, chances are your Pluto, unless there was a retrograde, chances are your Pluto is in Scorpio. And you're here to transform this motherfucker, to segue into some shit. Because now what's going to happen? Every baby born, that's why they're going to give us these vaccines. They're going to shut our fucking bodies down. They're going to make us not do the shit that we're supposed to be doing. Because every baby that we create from this point forward is they're going to be different. Masculine energy is going to be heavy in them. You know, we're going to fuck up the entire image. We're going to fuck up everything about them to make them not become this. When our personal identity is intact, collectively as a people, when they can no longer move us with the killings and shit have to happen because that's their sign of desperation. They're dying. They're dying, and we cannot allow them to win because they're influencing our children. They're influencing everything about us. Hip hop culture is running the world right now. And we don't even know that. Hip hop culture has the greatest influence on everything. Who started hip hop culture? We did. So we create these cultures, we create these things that everybody wants to be a part of, but nobody wants to take the struggles on. You feel me? So fuck them. It's us versus them. It's us versus them. Understand the Aquarian age for real. Understand what the fuck this shit is really doing. You feel me? We're in an age of knowledge. We're designed to know. We got to stop believing shit. I believe that there's some good ones. No, there's not. There's not. There are no good ones. My guy, there are no good ones. Stop aligning yourself with them. There are no fucking good ones. I believe there are good Asian people. They're not. You don't find that shit out till you die. You don't find that shit out till we die. We're the only ones crying. And they're justifying what the fuck happened. Well, he stole some guards from the store. Well, you know, there was a string of break-ins and he fit the description. We're all going to fit the description. 5'10" to 6'2", and he's black? The fuck? Look, when I was in undergrad and shit, right? I went to school on the MERT. What's called the MERT. You feel me? I don't know why, but most HBCUs in the projects. They're in the hood. Go figure. But you feel me? We had an open campus. You know, when somebody got robbed, it's like, okay, They would give us these clarity reports and shit. There was a robbery on such and such on Murchison Road. The suspect, black male, 5'10" to 6'1", all black. The defining moment to let you know if you were clear or not was he had dreads or he had a close cut. That's the only separating factor that would make me feel, oh shit, they ain't talking about me this time. You feel me? If they didn't say the dreads, I said, oh shit. That's why they ain't gonna find nobody, because it's like, yo, that's all of us. You feel me? All they gotta do is make that call. All they gotta do is make that call. They set the system up for that shit. They set the system up for that shit. You feel what I'm saying? Oh, we can just be one. Love. If we extend, you can't extend fucking love to kill hate. You feel me? There's an Akan proverb that I fucks with 100%. It says you return hate with hate. It'll stop. The bully don't stop beating your motherfucking ass till you fuck him up. The bully beating my ass, I'm gonna give this bitch ass nigga some cookies and say, hey, brother, we're friends again. No, he's gonna beat me up and eat the fucking cookies. You feel me? But when I bust his motherfucking ass, he gonna stop fighting. You feel me? He gonna stop fighting. I used to get bullied when I was in kindergarten. I ain't even gonna lie. I used to get bullied when I was in fucking kindergarten. And the kid used to fuck with me heavy. You feel me? Little Hispanic kid. Used to fuck with me heavy, you know? And my heart wouldn't let me hurt. I said, I will fuck you up, and I know I will. But my heart wouldn't let me hurt him because I was like, yo. And like I said, when I did the Dragon Ball Z reference about, it is, because you have a gentle heart, that's why you have to protect. You feel me? Motherfucker kept fucking with me, yo. So, in kindergarten, they wouldn't let us use book bags because I guess we were too young. So they gave us little grocery bags. They put our work in. We didn't have little pieces of paper. We was coloring and shit. So every day we would walk home. Cause he lived around the corner from me. So we ended up walking together somehow. I don't fucking know. But I just know that he would always snatch my bag off my back. And I'm like, yo, can you just leave me alone and stop playing? He just kept fucking with me. So one day he fucked with me one too many times. You feel me? Snatched my bag off. You feel me? I beat him up. I fucked him up, bro. I fucked him up. I cried the whole time I fucked him up because I didn't want to do it. I had beaten this, I'm 5 years old. Right, I shouldn't have been fighting like this, but I'm 5 years old, and when I hooked off on him and shit, he stumbled back and tried to run. No, you wanted this smoke, now you got it. So I caught him and threw him up against the brick wall. Well, it was not a brick wall, but it was a apartment complex type thing. It was a brick. I just threw him up against that bitch. I was punching this motherfucker straight face shots. Bam, bam, bam. I think I knocked him out, but I don't know because every punch that I threw, it kept him on his feet. Every time I seen him slip, boom, I hit him right back up, kept hitting him. He ain't never fuck with me again. And at that point, I never got bullied again. At that point, I also didn't become a bully, but at that point, I never became a bully again. I said, nobody will ever put me in a position, for one, where I have to get that violent. And then for two, where I'm not gonna keep giving you a pass, bro. I'm not gonna keep giving you a pass. You feel me? Bullies don't stop bullying till they get beat the fuck up. Know that shit. I'm not going to pray for you while you're praying on me. And don't forget to take a moment to go get your exclusive merchandise from Just Scenes merch. At Just Scenes, each piece is specifically crafted with positive imagery and symbolism. From the titles and designs to the descriptions, each style gives you something to feel great about. With everything from hoodies and tees to coffee mugs and tote bags, we have something for the entire family. So be sure to get yours today. Find us on Instagram at Just Scenes Merch and get your merchandise right now. But I'm gonna go ahead and try to wrap it up there. All of this was to say, here's the reason. The reason why they're doing this shit is because we're in the Aquarian age. The Aquarian age is the resurgence of masculinity, the masculine energy, the masculine essence. It is back. It is here. Trust me. Trust me. If you don't listen to shit else that I say, if you don't fuck with anything else that I say, hear me well. Masculinity is here. It just has to be remembered. That's it. It has to be remembered. You feel me? I don't talk the shit that I talk. I don't write the shit that I write for no reason at all. It's time for masculinity to be revived again. You feel me? It's time. The earth needs it. The world needs it. You feel me? When masculinity is tapped into, femininity shifts from toxic and becomes healthy, and all of that destructive and all that other shit subsides. You feel me? You're gonna need your warrior spirit. You're not gonna need your barbaric spirit. You need your warrior spirit. Both of them still gonna be killers. You feel me? But now you have to understand what's what. You feel me? This Aquarian age shit, all of this shit was perfectly designed. I mean, all of the Piscean shit, this shit was perfectly designed to try to stop us. The last 40, 50, 60 years, however long it's been, damn, it's like 70 years now. Like 60 years, so 64. Like, yeah. So for the last 70 years, they have been planning this shit. They have been planning what the fuck is happening now. You feel me? It's working because we don't understand what the fuck is supposed to be happening. We don't understand the actual the properties of the war that we're in. You feel me? It's the transition between the Pisces and the Aquarian age. You feel me? This is why they're killing anybody who's revolutionary, who's quote unquote pro-black, who's trying to be for the people. This is why y'all gotta fucking move in silence. This is why they gotta move in silence. This is why they shut your Instagram pages down. This is why they shut your awareness pages down. Don't get mad and bitch over them and saying, yo, you can't get on their platform saying that you're gonna overthrow them. You gotta move in silence. You gotta throw a joke out every now and again. You gotta spell some words wrong every now and again. You feel me? You gotta channel that anger the right way. You gotta start creating some templates for how to move through this bitch. Learn the game. We're in the Aquarian age now. It's heavy. It's heavy. You know, nobody's believing shit anymore. The generation that was like, and we have to focus, look, it's gonna sound very harsh, but we have to let the past die in order to let the future live. We can no longer this is going to help you understand why you should stop trying to convince motherfuckers to see your point. Stop trying to convince motherfuckers to understand they're Piscean. They can't. They won't. They won't. This is why they don't get, oh, you're woke and you think you're this, you think, no. They believe shit. They don't know shit. And everything, if you can't make them believe it, you feel me? You're trying to make somebody know something who's stuck on only understanding how to believe shit. So in order to make a motherfucker believe, you have to appeal to their emotions. When you're trying to make somebody know, you don't give a fuck about their emotions. Bitch, you need to know this. You have to learn how to change that. You have to be Aquarian, but you have to understand how to tap into a Piscean. Make motherfuckers laugh. Make motherfuckers feel. Don't make them angry when you're trying to teach them something. Don't make them uncomfortable. You feel me? Throw jokes out. Have fun. Riddle your shit. Riddle the shit that you're talking about with jokes. Learn how to move and maneuver through this shit. It's a very easy game to play. It's a very easy game to play. You feel me? But understand what the fuck is happening right now. They created the entire system. So when it's time for, hey, this was masculine energy. This was masculine energy. And then now you're going to see now you're going to see how the men are going to start responding to the responses and shit. You feel me? Like I said, when you look at Botham Jean, his brother he said, I just want to give her a hug. They're showing you, okay, oh, this is how I'm at. Now, I would have slapped that bitch, bro. I would have slapped that bitch. Like, I'm not abusive. I don't hit women. But in the state of war, you ain't a fucking woman no more. You're an enemy. Fuck that. You killed my brother, bro. Fuck no. You shouldn't even have made it to court. You were his neighbor, which means I know where the fuck you live. You shouldn't have made it to fucking court, bro. You shouldn't have made it to court. I would have slapped that bitch. Like, in war, there's no gender at that point. Like, it's obvious. Look at the shit. The white lady, she looked dead in this black man's face. Said, I'm going to call the police and tell them you're an African American. If she didn't have that mask on, you can probably see a smirk under her face. Bitch, oh my God, it's an African. I don't know. They put on well. They're the enemy too. Fuck them. Straight like that. You feel what I'm saying? But you're going to start to see You're going to start to see a lot more of the men being more, like, why you think they have, the two reverends and shit always trying to pop up on some shit? We just going to pray. And because they put the men first. They don't want you to see what masculine energy really is. They don't want you to see that. So when these situations happen, like, look at the fathers. Look at the men that show their face in these situations. Rest his soul, but Trayvon, when rest Trayvon's soul, like when you seen his father move, they put the proper, that's a strong man. He's strong. He's resilient. He's this. Nah, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I'm emotional, but I know how to rationalize and process my emotions well. But at the same time, nah, like, you're not taking my child's life. Like, when we look at it, I was watching Troy, and the motherfucker said, I think it was Queen Helen or some shit. She said, in times of war, fathers bury their sons. In times of peace, sons will bury their fathers. She said, are we in war? Think about that shit. Right now, fathers are burying their sons. Mothers are burying their daughters. You feel me? Because we're in a war. But we're the only ones that don't know we fighting. We just like, yo, please stop going to war with us, please. Nah. This is why they don't want you to have guns. I know religious people right now that don't have guns in the home. Why? Because the Lord is going to protect my house. The Lord is letting this shit happen. All of the gods are watching this shit happen. I don't give a fuck who your God is. Like, they're all watching this shit happen. Some people say even ours, but it's to show, like, who is our God? Who is it? Because we're following all of these religions. We're following all these different things, Except the only thing that we ain't following is the shit that actually whoop white supremacy's ass. Like, has documented records of whooping white supremacy's ass. That's African spirituality. I'm just saying, bro. They scared of it. We scared of it too. Not like I said it before. I don't remember which episode it was in. The God of your enemy is your devil. The God of your enemy is your devil. So now, we die in the streets and shit as we're a nation under God. We die in the streets and shit under God. And then we're praying for him to stop. And we're praying for him to stop. They're not praying at all for any on our intercession, and it doesn't stop. So what does that tell you? What should that tell you? You gotta see, that's the thing about belief. It's based off of feeling and emotion. It's not based off knowledge. But we're in the Aquarian age, and that shit's changing. It's changing because it's supposed to. It's changing because it's supposed to. But all of that was to show you that the reason why all of this shit is happening because there's a rise of masculinity. Masculine energy is back. That's why all of these labels and shit like who came up with the term toxic masculinity? We didn't, but we used it like a motherfucker. Oh yeah, that masculinity is just toxic. Not like no. I don't want my masculinity toxic. So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna act like a woman. I'm gonna be feminine. I'm gonna be feminine, as not as the essence of creation. I'm gonna be feminine in the sense that I'm gonna relinquish my masculine essence, my masculine power. I'm not gonna think about shit. I'm not gonna logically conclude shit. I'm not gonna do anything like that. I'm not gonna look at certain situations and respond the way a masculine being is supposed to. We're in a quandary because everybody wants the warrior spirit, but don't nobody want to go to war. I'm not telling anybody to go to war because I'm not fighting yet. It's not my time. It's not my time to fight yet. It's not the time to fight yet. I still got a few other things. Really just one more thing that I really got to do. But, after that, that's it. If the shit comes to the door, you got to put it down. You feel what I mean? But you have to reach that point. Don't let a motherfucker hype you up to get out here and do that shit that they're not willing to do. You feel me? Because like I said, real gangsters move in silence. You're not going to know when shit pops off. Just do it. Just do it. You already made your plan. You already strategized. You already done everything you need to do. Execute. Literally and figuratively. But the purpose in all of this shit is that it's happening because they already anticipated the surge in masculinity. And they're trying their hardest to keep it dead, to keep it killed. Because the truest masculine essence is going to start to run the game. They were successful with it, with the feminine essence. Like, they did it. They did it well. Black women were desecrated over the last 2,000 years, which was the Pisces age, because you know who's going to run the game. Who's going to run the game? This is why the religious books say a woman can't speak in the presence of a man. This is why the religious books say a woman can't have any kind of, sexual attractions, or she can't do it. Like they silence the fuck out of y'all. Because y'all are the front runners for femininity, which was Pisces. Piscean energy. We're not going to let y'all win this shit. We're going to give our barbaric women the reason to do, no. That's why I always say, the only thing more racist than a white man is the womb in which he comes from. Now, this is going to segue into another point. Yes, that man, I was related to him. He was my cousin. And he was fucking with a white bitch. It's split for me. It's split for me because on one, it's like, yo, you still family. And you fucked up. You crossed the line. You did some shit you weren't supposed to do, but you're still family. So it's like, we got to eat that. I got to eat that too. But at the same time, still, it's like, nigga, now this is no means in any way, shape, or form to say he deserved anything that he didn't deserve that. No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that the point that I'm saying is that there are no good ones. You can't trust them. You can't trust them, and we need to stop trying to align ourselves with them. You feel me? Stop trying to align ourselves with them. That was the point of that. Because I seen a lot of the other memes posted and shit, and it's just like, yo, come on, bro, I got you. I got what y'all trying to do, but that's not a lot of the pro-black people was like, well, he was fucking with a white bitch, so you get no, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. You dig what I'm saying? We're not gonna do that. So, but like I said, I see both sides. I see you shouldn't have been fucking with her, but we deal with that in-house. We deal with that in-house. You feel me? Your wrongs are your wrongs in-house. But outside, I fucks with you. Outside of that shit, it's that solidarity. That's what it needs to be. You feel me? But all in all, at this point, I'll be rambling and shit. But all in all, look, the Aquarian age is the reason why all of this shit is happening. Collectively, we need to break this barrier and understand it. Go study your natal chart. Understand, what influence you have. Start to pay attention to how the civil rights movement actually moved. Pay attention to the decades, the crack epidemic, school to prison pipelines. Look at all the shit that has happened. It's purposely done. It's purposely done for this very moment. Getting the black president, all of this shit was purposely done. This was a plan. So now, bam, when we start killing them, we showed you in America what the model image of the black man is going to be. He's dancing, he's playing basketball, he's having fun, he has the black wife, the daughters and shit, and he's the good guy. We're going to show you, this is the contrast, but this is what we're killing. We're not killing people like him. So when the world sees, we're not killing Obamas. We're killing niggas. We're killing niggas. So nobody's going to step in. Not who, not nobody. Nobody's going to step in for this shit. They created this realm for this to happen. This was planned out, So, pay attention to all of these things, bro. And understand that we're in the Aquarian age and learn how to tap into your energies to do that. And masculinity will rise. Trust me. I ain't bullshitting with the shit. Just watch. But it's not we got to start moving forward, learning how to be able to protect the future and understanding where we are. But like I said, I'll be rambling at this point. This is already long enough and I got shit to do. So as always, you can follow me on Instagram _just_scene_. Visit my website at iamjustscene.com for my courses, my books, my merch, booking sessions with Chatting with Scene, and all of my social media connections. I appreciate everybody who donates, tips, and sponsors the podcast. If you would like to donate, tip, and sponsor the podcast, please do so by using Cash App, PayPal, or the actual sponsorship. All of the links are in the description of your podcast. Yeah, that's about it, man. I ain't got nothing else to really say except pay attention. Because at this point, I ain't gonna say it's gonna get worse, but at this point, it's gonna keep happening. It's not gonna stop. There's like not gonna be any justice. There's not gonna be any real repercussions for the shit, because this is the plan. This is supposed to happen. It's what it is. It's what it is. You know. So with that being said, go kiss your babies. You know, kiss your sons and your daughters. Oh, and before I go, although there was like, let's not forget, there's women that are going through this shit too. It's not always about the men. You know, we don't need to just keep going up in arms when we as men die. Because our sisters are being fucked up too. They're dying in fucking hospitals. They're being thrown off of balconies and shit. You feel me? They're getting shot the fuck up too. Let's have the same energy, bro. Had the same fucking energy, bro. Sis, all of us. Don't be, when the shit pop off, love a black woman harder too. Black women, I love y'all. Don't just post about, oh, black men, I love you, because in the heat of the moment, nah, fuck that. Black women, I love y'all too. We're in this bitch. Like, we gotta stop doing that shit, bro. We gotta stop doing that shit. Our sisters gotta be here too. Our sisters gotta be here too. You feel me? You know, let's stop. When that shit happens, we gotta stop just leaving them by the wayside. They're like, nah. But see, this is also why they have to make sure that the black man is passive. Because the moment I'm gonna end with this. What did Langston Hughes say? He said, the Negroes, sweet, gentle, docile, and kind, fear the day that they change their mind. Masculinity is gonna change your mind. Masculinity is gonna change the mind. And that's what they don't want to happen. So with that being said, go kiss your babies. Love on them hard. You know, don't fear this shit. Start overcoming it. It's just a part of the war. When you understand that we're in the war and it's not randomly happening. These aren't random acts of Caucasian behavior. This is war. It's supposed to be this way. Move accordingly. I see y'all on the next one, man. I love y'all. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.